Ex-Millionaires of Reddit. What made you lose all your money? Story 1. My dad is an ex-millionaire. He's an effing wizard at starting successful businesses. His problem is he can't let them go. He is the boss/owner who never hires a manager, who's not family because he just doesn't trust anyone else to run it. He drove $3 million companies into the ground because he couldn't keep up with his own success and refused to hire people to do it for him. Opinion. Sometimes it costs a lot of money for stubborn people to learn. Story 2. I have a relative who has been a self-made millionaire many times. He was the hardest working person I've ever known. As soon as he graduated from high school, he got his real estate license and became a successful realtor. Within 30 years, he opened a successful construction company, a store that sold kitchen cabinets, and owned over 20 rental properties. This wasn't enough for him, and he started renting out his properties to people that would pay him more to grow the green stuff in. His granite company was used to ship the green stuff across state lines, and now he's sitting in jail facing a minimum of 10 years. The government is coming after all his rentals and money. Edit. I should add he shipped the green stuff to 9 different states, 7 of which are still illegal, using the United States Postal Service. Opinion. Just owning stuff doesn't translate into wealth. He may have been overextended and unable to afford to finance his debt. The green stuff business may have been the only thing that was keeping him in the black. Story 3. Not me technically, but my grandma. So, a little backstory. My great-grandparents owned a luxury fur coat business and made an absolute boatload of money. When my grandma and her brother, my great-uncle, had moved out from their parents' house, they were given a sizable amount of money. Not millions, but far more than the average person might get in such a situation, to fund their adulthood. Great-uncle ended up opening 2 businesses using this money, a gas station and a used car lot. He made pretty good money running these 2 businesses. We'll get back to him a little bit later in the story. Grandma, however, took this money that was given to her and blew a lot of it on fancy clothes, vacations, etc. She then got married to my grandpa and had 3 kids, and then he ended up cheating on her and took a bunch of her remaining money in the divorce. Meanwhile, my great-uncle was furthering his business ventures, opening a payphone business, helicopter tours, and all kinds of other things. He was rolling in money at this point. Sometime later, my great-grandparents passed away, within months of each other. They then split their inheritance 2 ways, 1/3 of it going to my great-uncle, and 2/3 going to my grandma. The argument was that he was a wealthy bachelor with no kids, and she was struggling to get by with a secretary job while raising 3 kids by herself. This ticked off my great-uncle quite a bit, since he knew what she had done with her previous huge handout. He was mad about the inheritance not being 50-50, but not something that he would quit talking to my grandma over. Not yet anyway. So, what do you think my grandma did with her huge windfall of money? Did she open a business? No. Did she invest it in some way? Nah. Did she do absolutely anything productive whatsoever? Of effing course not. The first thing she did was buy a great big house in a nice neighborhood. Actually, no, wait. That was the second thing she did. The first thing she did was quit her job. Then she bought a luxury car. Then came luxury clothes for my mom, aunt, and uncle. Then she hired a full-time live-in maid. Then came the vacations to all the hottest vacation spots of the day. Gourmet meals every day. All the toys and gadgets that they could possibly want. You name it, she bought it. So it should come as no surprise that she burned through the entire inheritance in less than a year. 2/3 of the money that her parents had worked their whole lives for. More money than anyone should reasonably ever be able to spend. She blew through in under 12 months. But she kept spending, driving herself into debt. They lost the house, lost the luxury car, and even had to sell all their fancy clothes and toys just to pay the enormous debt she had gained. And then she came to my great-uncle's office and asked him for money. She was promptly thrown out by security and was told that he would never speak with her again. And he never did. Imagine my surprise when I grew up in what was basically the borderline of total poverty. And my family told me that they used to be filthy, stinking rich. Because of what my grandma did, my great-uncle more or less cut off contact with her side of the family for years. It wasn't until I was a teenager that I ever met the man. I think later on in his life, he felt bad about punishing the rest of the family when all of the faults lay on my grandma, and he started to talk with us every so often. But we knew to never ask him for anything, even though we were all struggling. When my grandma was almost passing away, she begged for us to have my great-uncle come to the hospital so she could apologize to him. When told about this, his response was basically, "I don't give an F." And then, in an almost ironic twist, he married an obvious gold digger, 30-ish years his junior, who had already survived two other unalived old rich guys. And then, when he passed away, she got everything, disconnected their phone line, and disappeared like an effing bandit. His actual family got nothing. TLDR. Great-grandparents were rich. Great-uncle becomes a successful businessman. Grandma blows every last penny of their inheritance in record time. Great-uncle cuts off contact with her after she begs him for money. She passes away alone. He passes away and has his entire inheritance taken by his gold-digging wife. I'm still poor. Edit. And I wake up to 4,000 upvotes. Holy. I need to go through all of these messages. Opinion. That really shows how big the difference between two people can be, even if raised by the same parents. Story 4. My dad, not me. He made some really shrewd stock market investments after he retired. They were options for an oil refiner at a time when the USA had a real shortage of them. My dad had done a lot of research on this and studied the situation carefully. He got rich to the tune of maybe $2 million. He could have been set for life. My dad was already a really smart guy. He has a PhD in mathematics and was a highly respected big brain professional all the way back into the 1960s. However, he thought this took him to the next level. He bought a lot of newer options in the same company. I suggested to him that he diversify and put a bunch of money into something closer to an annuity or another conservative investment that would give him plenty of income forever. I told him if he did that, he would always be rich. Well, he is pretty far from that now. I haven't said a thing about that to him since he lost everything. I did what I could at the time to save him from himself. But who was I? It pains me to see how it played out for him. He did a lot of things right in life. He deserved better. But there's no deserve in securities investing. Morals of the story: you aren't an investment genius after your first blockbuster win. You need a track record. Diversify. Opinion. Yup, never put all your eggs in one basket. Story 5. Hypothetical millionaire. I bought $100 worth of Bitcoin when they were about $1 each. I sold them when they were about $2.50 each, and was so happy I made money from internet coins. As of the moment I am typing this, those coins would be worth $1,855,000. Opinion. Let me ease your mind. Making millions means passing up thousands, even hundreds of thousands of opportunities daily for years. It's not just one single decision to not sell. It's tens of thousands. Hindsight messes with people's minds. Story 6. I saw a guy at a casino who somehow managed to get a loan against his house for about $200,000 and ended up losing it all. He looked like someone on the verge of doing something really bad to himself. Apparently, he was already down almost $50,000 and thought he could win it back. I got hired at the casino and would leave on Friday and return on Monday, only to see the same people in the same clothes. Some of them so desperate they wouldn't even take a break to go to the bathroom and were still sitting at the blackjack table. Gambling. Opinion. Gambling responsibly is nearly impossible for some people, and it's tough to see. Story 7. Divorce. I was a millionaire. Went through a divorce that almost drove me to insolvency. I buckled down, worked my tail off, and am a millionaire again. Guys, don't underestimate the devastating impact a bad divorce can have on your net worth. Opinion. Can't get divorced if you don't get married. Story 8. I built a business worth $3 million, had a house worth $1.4 million, investments worth more than $2 million, and 4 nice cars. Divorce laid me low. An ex-wife, a lawyer, and the judge stripped me of at least 3/4 of that, left me with a Miata race car, a bit of money, and 51% of my company. Still had to pay alimony. I gave up. I negotiated my way out of alimony by giving up more of the company, liquidated everything else, bought a boat, and effed off. 26 months later, I sailed back into my life and started over. I've earned enough to live a modest retirement. And that's where I am today. Don't get married, boys. It ain't worth it. I've done it twice. The first time was a disaster, and the second time was an annoyance. Just my opinion and experience. I'm way too drunk and shouldn't have posted. Anyway, there it is. Opinion. I don't get why it is even allowed for one party to get half. That's such BS. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and activate the bell button to receive notifications to my latest videos.